But what about bungees? Bungees have been the go-to tool for adding resistance to on-court movement. But are they the optimal tool, or worse? Does bungee training do more harm than good? Are they a well-designed tool to improve on-court movement under resistance? Or as I mentioned earlier, are they an ill-designed tool for attempting to mimic on-court movement under resistance? Well, let's take a closer look. As I mentioned earlier, bungees apply variable resistance, meaning the farther the bungee is stretched, the more resistance it applies. For tennis training, and any training where change of direction speed is paramount, just as the athlete nears his or her change of direction point, the bungee has considerably slowed the athlete down. This almost completely eliminates the training effect of the first phase of change of direction, deceleration. On court, in a match, the athlete must sprint at almost full speed and then abruptly decelerate. The bungee continually slows the athlete down as they approach the deceleration point, exactly what you do not want. The athlete would be better off using only body weight than a bungee to train deceleration in this instance. But wait, it gets worse. At the most crucial moment of efficient on-court movement, change of direction, the bungee fails the athlete again. Not only has it harmed the athlete's deceleration training, but as the athlete plants and begins his or her return to the center of the court, the bungee is now pulling them back. Resistance has turned to assistance at the precise moment you want resistance from the opposite side. Because the bungee is pulling the athlete back, he or she is hardly required to push off at all, almost completely eliminating the training effect of phase 2 of change of direction, acceleration in the opposite direction. Now let's take a look at the athlete's movement patterns as he or she returns to center court. In these images, if you did not know better, you would assume that the athlete is moving in the opposite direction. Notice how she is leaning in the opposite direction that she is moving. This is completely natural, of course, as any time a sheer force is pulling you in one direction, it is only natural to lean against that force, else you will lose your balance and possibly fall over. Instead of accelerating back to the center of the court, pushing off of your outside foot, the athlete here is resisting the pull in that direction. Again, just the opposite of what you would like. Take a close look at a player's feet as they are being pulled by a bungee back to the center of the court. With each step, the athlete is braking with their feet against the pull of the bungee. Again, this is a perfectly natural response. It is reflexive and cannot be untrained. Again, the athlete is being trained to move slower, not faster, and would be better off doing this drill with body weight than with a bungee. So how do we overcome the drawbacks of ill-designed equipment like the bungee, but not give up the very real and desired training effect of progressive overload for movement training? We would need progressive resistance which can be delivered in multiple planes and multiple directions as experienced by the player in match conditions, does not slow the player down as they approach change of direction points, adds no discernible weight to the player, allowing at or near full speed movement, and delivers gravitational resistance versus shear resistance, allowing the player's center of gravity to remain undisturbed. So what does this resistance look like? Called dynamic gravitational resistance training, or DGRT, this type of resistance overcomes the barrier of transitioning progressive overload training from the gym to the court with virtually no compromises and without the multiple negative training effects of traditional banded approaches. It combines all of the positive aspects of body weight training and weight training and none of their drawbacks. How significantly does this form of resistance address the weaknesses of traditional resistance training for movement? Let's take a look. Of the 14 desirable elements listed here for resisted movement training, DGRT fulfills 13 of them, bungees 2, and free weights 5. DGRT is multidirectional, multiplanar, allows at or near full speed training, trains all phases of change of direction, maintains an athlete's center of gravity, reinforces good posture and an athletic stance, can be added to and amplify the training effect of any kind of workout, builds functional muscular endurance, delivers ground-up rotational resistance, strengthens the foot and ankle complex, can be used solo, and is extremely customizable for an athlete's age and strength level. That is not to say that other forms of resistance do not still have their place and are essential to a complete athletic development program. Only the DGRT has fulfilled a crucial gap in progressive overload training for movement, which has existed for far too long and has kept our athletes from reaching their full athletic potential. And what does DGRT look like in action? Well, let's take a quick look on the following slide. Notice the fluidity with which the athletes can move, how resistance is applied no matter the direction they are moving, how a good athletic stance is reinforced, and how it completely trains the phases of change of direction. And don't be deceived by the speed and fluidity of these athletes' movements. Constant, unyielding resistance is being delivered, and the training effects are very real.
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm ready to break out. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made of. Get in the game, your moment of fame. Show them what you made of. It's time that we stand up. It's time that we man up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop. This time, like the last time, you better get ready to race to the top. I'm ready to do this, show you what the truth is. I step on the field, it's time to get real. I'm feeling so ruthless. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.